Love an album, but find there's always at least one song on it that's not up to the standard of the rest. This podcast is for you. Welcome to Trimming the Musical Fat. I'm Stephen Nicholson.
I'm Paul Nicholson.
And thank you for joining us for the latest Trimming the Classic episode, a Patreon exclusive. And the subject of today's episode is the classic debut album from Oasis, 1994's Definitely Maybe. My guest and I will pick a song from the album that we like the least. We'll also select our favourite songs and discuss the album as a whole. Time to introduce our guest. So welcome giant Oasis fan, Paul Young. Gents, let's talk Oasis and we'll start with 3 questions for you. I'm going to test your knowledge here. Question 1. So on Definitely Maybe, on how many songs does band guitarist Noel Gallagher take the lead vocal? What do you reckon?
I don't think he takes any.
You don't think there's any?
So was it Definitely Maybe, said Stephen?
Yep, Definitely Maybe, yep.
Okay.
Definitely maybe said that.
So is there one?
The answer is, yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I think the vinyl version of Definitely Maybe had Sad Song on
it. Oh, he's going deep cuts here.
Oh, well,
which does mean you're both right. So the standard version, the CD and cassette, didn't have Sad Song, so therefore Noel did not sing any lead vocals on the album, but on the vinyl version, which I've got lying next to me here, you get Sad Song, which is a really good tune, and Noel sings in that one. So you're both right. So question 2, which single from the album contained the cover of the Beatles' I Am the Walrus?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, I can. So which single from the album contained the cover of the Beatles' I Am the Walrus? And I have to say, it was one of my favourite CD singles of all time because every single song in it was fabulous.
Is it Whatever?
You're out. Over to you, Paul.
This is a guess.
Okay.
Cigarettes and Alcohol.
Cigarettes and Alcohol is correct. Yep.
That was a good guess, by the way.
Yeah, and you know what? I remember buying that CD. I still remember vividly buying that CD single Saturday, HMV, and putting it on in the car, whatever I was driving to, and just thinking, Cigarettes and Alcohol, brilliant. Live version, I Am the Walrus, brilliant. Listen Up, brilliant. And I'm getting the
Fade Away.
Fade Away. That's the one. 4 cracking tunes. So yeah, Cigarettes and Alcohol. And the third and final question, based on worldwide sales, where does Definitely Maybe rank in comparison to the band's other 6 studio albums? So based on sales, where does it lie? And I think
I'm not going to answer this.
Brother Paul, you know this one, so Paul.
I'm not going to answer it because it would be unfair because I've
you know this one, okay?
So I'm going to go for second. Okay. I think maybe what Morning Glory might have been a better seller than that one. That again, I don't know. That's a bit of a guess, but
well, the answer is, Paul, do you want to say?
Be Here Now was the second biggest, so Definitely Maybe was the third biggest.
Yeah, Morning Glory.
I think it was just Be Here Now sold so much right away, but then it fell away quite quickly. But that was enough to keep it above Definitely Maybe.
Man, there you go.
It was quite close though.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a few 100,000 that separated them. Yeah. Be Here Now didn't have any legs at all. Very much front loaded in sales. Yeah. Okay. So Definitely Maybe is the debut album by English rock band Oasis. It was released on the 29th of August 1994 and produced by Owen Morris. It is the only studio album to feature all 5 original members, as founding member drummer Tony McCarroll was fired from the band in 1995. The album was a critical and commercial success, with many critics and listeners welcoming the album's fearless optimism, particularly in an era of rock which was dominated by American grunge, which seemed at odds with the album. So the album went straight to number 1 in the UK, and it became the fastest selling debut album here up to that point. And it has sold now over 6.5 million copies worldwide. So there were 4 singles released from it, and they are Supersonic, Shakermaker, Live Forever, and Cigarettes and Alcohol. Talk a wee bit about the album. So do you guys remember when you first heard it? I'll maybe start with, I've got 2 Pauls, which makes it awkward. So I'm going to go Paul Young, you can be Paul, and my brother, you can be Brother Paul for the purposes of this episode. So Paul, do you remember when and where you first heard the album?
So is this definitely maybe Stephen?
Yeah.
Okay, so 94 was first year student at Queen Margaret College in Halstead residence, and I've thought long and hard about this, but I think the first time that Oasis kind of came to my attention was, I think I saw them in The Word, the Channel 4 programme, Supersonic was the single that came out. So that was the first time that I sort of heard them and immediately got my attention. But then I saw Live Forever, and it was an acoustic version on MTV, and it was just like, wow, that is just amazing. And then that was it. I was in both feet, super fan of Oasis, got everything that they ever did and played it to death every day. And of course, being in Halsey residence, nobody really cared about the noise. Or well, if they did, they didn't say anything. So were you
Stevenson or Granger Stewart, the halls?
Granger Stewart,
right? Okay.
5B to be exact.
Oh, right, there you go.
So it was a great time, and it just came out at the perfect time. And that was pretty much the soundtrack for me when I was a student going forward. I was a modern day super fan of Oasis for sure. It was good times, great times.
What was it you liked? What was it that maybe Oasis were doing that no one else was? What was it you liked about the album and the band when they first came out?
Well, I liked, I guess the first sort of kind of music I got into was the Manchester stuff from the 1990s. It was like 3 or 4 years before. So I liked indie music, but I think the thing I liked about Oasis was that they just were a lot kind of louder, and they were also a wee bit more kind of on the metal side as well.
Yep. And
I saw Oasis at Irvine Beach, which would have been towards the end of the sort of definitely maybe, they'd released all their singles and they were, I guess, just about to release Morning Glory. And I'd been a few gigs before that, but that one just blew me away. And I think the thing that I remember the most about it, apart from the music being brilliant, was it was so loud. My ears were ringing for days afterwards. And I just couldn't get enough of it at the time. It was loud, and obviously they were always on TV, the interviews, and they just had a bit of an attitude about them and an arrogance, and that there was lots of things. But I think just the sort of style of their music and how loud and fast it was, and Liam's vocals were amazing as well. So ticked a lot of boxes.
Brilliant. Irvine Beach, what a great time to see them. Maybe the best time to see them.
Yeah, that was the first time, and that was something else I had to try and figure out how many times I've actually seen them live, and I'm still not sure if I'm right.
Oh wow!
2 out. But and they had 2 nights there, and I think the first night the Verve were supporting. I saw them on the second night, and it was Cast.
Right.
So. It was just at the point when you were young enough to be right down the front of crowds and jumping about, and not like it is nowadays.
Right, get your seat at the back now.
Your pint doesn't get spilt. But it was different then, and like I say, it was just amazing, great time.
Superb. Brilliant, thanks, Paul. Brother Paul, what about you? When did you first hear it?
It's a good question, actually. Probably I resisted Oasis's charms for a long time, actually. I have to say, it's like my friends at the time, they all loved them, and that's probably why I deliberately didn't want to like them, because I thought I want to be different. And I think there was something about it because they were comparing themselves to the Beatles all the time. So I was kind of like quite dismissive of them. Probably right up till What's the Story, Morning Glory, actually. It was then that I succumbed to their charms. But so for me, yeah, when I probably heard the album, I couldn't tell you exactly when, but it would have been probably after What's the Story, Morning Glory album.
Okay. What do you think of the album?
It's good, but I think it's overrated.
Oh.
Yeah.
God
Probably
damn
for
it.
those reasons that I was saying, that's the way my mind thinks about it. Memories and stuff like that.
Get off.
Yeah.
So you prefer Morning Glory, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's better album.
Well, for me, I first got this album on CD in early 1995, and I'd heard quite a number of Oasis tracks over the course of 1994, obviously the singles and so on. And similar to you, Paul, Brother Paul, I'd resisted their charms. I think it was when they brought out Whatever before Christmas '94, and obviously that isn't on this album, but is from that time period. I just thought that was brilliant, and the actual album itself was, and a lot of the music magazines was ranked #1 for the year. So I think it was just all of those things coming together. I thought I really need to buy this album. I remember going out to buy it on CD, and what a good decision it was. I thought it was. I still do. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Just loved its energy. It's great songwriting. I loved its optimism as well, because I think if you think back to that time, the primary music movement over the previous couple of years, that was grunge, which was not the most optimistic, positive sound in the world. I'm a big fan of it, but so it was nice to have some people come along who were doing really brash music with an attitude, being positive. But I just think people were ready for something else, and I think like Oasis and those other bands that kind of came along at the same time, Blur and Supergrass and Pulp, just gave us something different. So it's still a brilliant album for me, one of my all-time favorite albums, and for me, it's Oasis's best album. So let's talk about our favorite songs. So, Paul, what's your favorite song from it?
Which Paul? That's not a song, by the way. Now,
not Brother Paul. Paul, yeah.
The last few days has been quite hard because I've had to make some choices that I've never had to make before. So
was this more challenging, Paul, than choosing your children's names?
I didn't get a say in that, mate. I'm going to go Slide Away.
Okay,
it's my favourite song of Definitely Maybe, and it wasn't the song that I was immediately attracted to. I played Live Forever to Death and Rock and Roll Star, and I love Columbia, and then I just kind of, when you start to sort of hear the song, the lyrics, the way Liam sings it, I'm a massive fan of that song. I can't believe it wasn't a single.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just one of those songs that you could listen to, and it's still brilliant to listen to now. it's timeless.
It's one of those songs that, yeah, it wasn't a single, but it's one you'll still hear on the radio.
Yeah.
And you will hear stuff that Oasis put out from that time period, which weren't singles at regular radio play, like Champagne Supernova, She's Electric, Slide Away, Rock and Roll Star. You'll hear these on the radio. Just shows you how big and popular they were. And you got a least favorite track from the album, Paul?
So again, difficult one, and it's not that I don't like it, but least favorite, I'm going to go for Dixie's Diner.
Oh, Paul, why?
But do you know what? Do you know what the funny thing is? I've been singing it all day, and my kids thought I was taking the piss because I was talking about lasagna. And they were like, "Is that?" I was like, "That's a sort of, no, that's not a real song. You're making it out on my. I promise you that's an Oasis song." So that was a hard choice, and it is a good song. But I think I couldn't pick any of the other ones, and that was my process of elimination.
Okay, so maybe you're singing it because you're maybe feeling a little guilty.
Yeah, either that or it was lasagna for tea.
Maybe. Brother Paul, what's your favourite from the album?
Probably Live Forever, although I didn't like it at the time.
Maybe I just wanna fly, wanna live but don't wanna die. Maybe I just wanna breathe. Maybe I just don't believe. Maybe you're the same as me. We see things I'll never see. You and I are gonna live forever.
I think it's just one of those songs that I think as well. A girl I used to go who I went to primary school with that she passed away, and that was played at her funeral. So just something there about that, Live Forever. And did the video not have like rock stars that had died and stuff, like people that
When they've done it live? Yeah.
Oh, was it when it was live? Yeah. So yeah, Live Forever, and my least favorite would probably be Digsy's Dinner as well. That one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I seem to be the only fan of that one then. And when you're talking Live Forever, that was another one of the reasons why I eventually bought the album. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a student club, and the music they played in it was really loud, and they put on Live Forever, and I think that was the first time that the song just clicked with me. And I just thought, that's absolute genius, that song. And I mean, I'd heard it quite a lot prior, but that was just the first time it clicked with me. And I was just like, yeah, why am I not into these guys? Why have I not bought their stuff yet? And I've been rectifying that the rest of my life. So to have everything. But yeah, for me, my favorite on that. On, but why not? Talent borrows, genius steals. And I just love the scuzziness of it. It's just a real let's have it song. And it was always great for getting ready for a night out back in the 90s. That's a great one to put on, that and Rock and Roll Star. have a few beers while you're getting ready. That's what it was all about. And my least favourite is probably Bring It On Down. And it's always been my least favourite, funnily enough. Is, you know how sometimes it can change over time. It's just always been my least favourite. And like you, Paul, with Dig Day's Dinner, it's a decent tune. Yeah, I like its energy, the guitar, Liam's vocal on it. But maybe just doesn't have the same magic as other songs do for me. But yeah, still a decent tune. So time to say goodbye. We're going home. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to Paul for joining us. And until next time, keep trimming.